Alright folks, so I'm back with the second part of this video. In this one I will put them to a test. For the sake of keeping this video short, I have skipped the part that relates to assembly, but as you can see, the cards I have now, they are simply looking fabulous. This is the second card, Gigabyte, and I will be testing this one the first, but in general you can see the condition is absolutely great. The third one, this was the dirtiest of all and is shining as new. I'll use my Dell PC for the first one because it does not require power connectors. I ran firmmark for about 5 minutes and you can see the temperatures are on the level of 70, which is fine because this card is designed to go up to 75 degrees. Now I put my testing SSD. This has all the tools I need, for example TimeSpy from 3D Mark. This is a very comprehensive test and I was able to pass it very successfully with the average temperature of 61. In some cases it went like 63, 64, but in general it was on the level of 61 and I was successfully able to complete the test. And then I proceeded to test this card further by gaming on it for a few hours, and in there as well I did not face any issues. After successfully testing RX 460 from Gigabyte, I switched to other system because these two cards required 6-pin power connector, but my approach was same: basic installation followed by a test for 5 minutes with firmmark, and then TimeSpy followed by gaming for a few hours. Both the cards did great, and only the problem I had was with Sapphire. It was going up to 80 degree, mainly because of fan. Now to summarize this video, I would like to emphasize a point that merely washing hardware does not cause damages. In my case, all the 3 GPUs came out perfectly fine and they were doing better than ever before. Only I had a small issue with Sapphire, that it was going up to 80 degrees in firmmark after a period of 5 minutes. Ideally, I would like to see it around 75, 77. But as soon as I switched to the TimeSpy or gaming on it, it came down a bit, but still I think is better to change the fan, which I did not, just to save a few bucks, but I think I'll change the fan after this video. In general, washing hardware is not an issue on its own, but we have to be careful in avoiding the sensitive areas. Having said this, we also should have a genuine need to wash the hardware. I would not advise washing hardware just for the purpose of washing it. And besides that, there are certain components that you should avoid as a whole. For example, you would not take out the power supply and wash it. That's a total no-no. If ever you have any problem with your power supply, you are better off changing it as a whole. So there are certain components that you might not be advised to wash it, and in some cases that you have a real need to wash the hardware, you have to be careful with the sensitive areas. For example, if you are washing a motherboard, it's better to be careful around the CPU socket area or the RAM slots. For example, if you end up throwing in a small piece of detergent that may or may not be visible to the human eye, and once you install the CPU or the RAM, it could cause damages, and in such cases you will have no clue which area of the motherboard is causing problem. Is it because of washing or is it because of CPU or RAM? So those are the areas that you would like to avoid. In general, I have washed motherboards as well and never had any issues. Just avoid the sensitive areas. Same thing goes for the GPUs. Some high-end cards like I don't want to name them, but those are high-end cards. They have thermal pads as well besides the thermal grease. So once you open up your card and tear it down, those thermal pads might be damaged, slightly torn off or something like that. So, and once you put your card back, you will note that the temperatures are even worse than before. So the reason behind those could be thermal pads. So in such case, you will have to keep a replacement with you and some cars use 1 mm, some cars use 0.5 mm. So these are the things that you should know before you decide to tear down your card. And lastly, washing hardware is not absolutely necessary. You should have a very specific need to do so. For example, if you have a problem with the temps of the card, you might just use a compressed air can to clean out the dust. Maybe you are better off simply changing the fan if they are malfunctioning or not going up to the right RPM. Or maybe you, in the end, if everything else is okay, you might decide to change the thermal grease, thermal paste, and that should be it. Washing was, in my case, in these cards, I mean, it was very particular need because the previous owner was complaining that the cars are going above the normal temperature. I could visibly see the condition of the cars was not good, and I could touch and really inspect that the fans were not usable at all. So in that case, keeping everything in mind, I was better off washing them instead of cleaning them with a cotton bud and alcohol. So I hope this video helps, and thanks for watching. Thanks for your time. Take care. Bye.